All right, good morning. So I'm kind of doing a revision of Spicy Exotics video on these dragon fruit support systems. He's had them up 10 years at his place and had great luck, and they're currently enduring a hurricane right now, Hurricane Barry. So he says that they are pretty sturdy, and I believe him. So I decided to kind of make my own version, do a few tweaks, and I'll do a how-to video to help support you on this project if you choose to do this endeavor here. So first step is to find or procure some 55-gallon barrel drums. I suggest getting BPA free ones. That's what these are. Looks like they housed sweetener, and they made some white grape juice, I guess. So anyways, I looked online and found these for 10 bucks a pop. Had to drive a couple hours into Hemet, but they had multiple colors and I really wanted white. So I'm stoked on this. They were 10 bucks a pop, can't beat that. I would not pay more than $30 for one of these barrels, FYI. But they are around. Check local supply feed stores if you live in Southern California. A lot of a lot of feed stores carry these because farmers use them to water their livestock. So definitely, or you could even grow plants on them. So anyways, BPA free, that was the first step. Once I found them, I cut them in half. And so finding circumference is a little challenging. I mean, height's pretty easy on these, but circumference was challenging because there's a bit of variance in each barrel. So I used rope, and I kind of just marked out the rope for circumference, and that's how I decided to mark up my my measurements before I cut it. So what I used is a Sawzall, and I used a very fine metal tip. The more teeth, the easier it will be to cut these barrels. And so it left behind a really kind of a rough edge. I don't know if you could hear that, you could see it. So what I do is I was using 100 grit sandpaper, and I just sanded down the edge to kind of soften it. You could also use like a Dremel or something. I don't have one. I left it somewhere else, or borrow something, let somebody borrow it. I couldn't find it. So anyways, I just used sandpaper, really easy, and it's nice and ready to go. So that's sort of phase one in this project here. Again, you can see, we'll have a list of all the tools you need. Take a screenshot at the end, so you could go to your local supply store and get what you need. So anyways, that's part one, and that's where we are right now. Okay, so for part two, you want to get some 4-inch triple wall sewer drain pipe or drain pipe, and it comes in 10-foot sections, and you cut them to cut off the little coupler at the end, and then you divide that length in half, and you get two pieces about 5 feet, a little shy of 5 feet, and that's going to be kind of your trunk, your support trunk, where the dragon fruit will climb up. I'll show you in a second. Also, you're going to need some 4-inch drain caps, PVC, because you're going to drill into those and put some rebar in later. Also, you're going to need some 1/2-inch caps for when we drill some holes into the bottom of the barrel to support that kind of the structure, the stem, I guess you could say, or the trunk. In addition to 1/2-inch caps, you're going to want 1/2-inch electrical conduit. I bought 10-foot sections and divided them up by 4, and you get plenty of length, and then you can kind of cut them off to fit at the end. So once you have all that, you're going to want to be really careful and kind of think about 90-degree angles. So I thought about making a cross, and I drilled it right here like I saw, and exactly halfway around the circumference I drilled through the other end using a unibit. So a unibit looks like this. This one is too small though, so you're gonna need the bigger one. Let me find that here. There it is. You need this one. It was like 50 bucks, but you definitely, I only bought the 1/2-inch one. I forgot about the outside diameter of this conduit here. So I actually have 2 now. This one works really well for drilling the hole at the end for drainage, but you will need either drill bits or these unibits, and unibits slice right through these. And again, you're going to want to use the electrical conduit, and I put this about 5 inches up from the bottom, and you can see you have these 4 electrical conduits. You drill through the drain pipe, and that's kind of I would say phase 2. So once you get through that part, that's the hardest part, is making sure you get your math right on the circumference and making sure that you can get this nice and straight. So that's phase 2. Once that's completed, I'll show you phase 3, in a second. Again, this is your tool of choice, a unibit, and you will be using some nice fine metal blades as well. Okay, for phase 3, you're going to need some wire mesh. I got this at Home Depot and cut it up into 2-foot sections. You need some 3/8 of an inch rebar. You could buy the long sections and cut them up yourself, or what I did is I just bought 2-foot sections to make it really easy. And you're going to want to take this basically, oops, and you'll form a cross. We'll show you that in a second. And then this will be supported on top using some outdoor rated zip ties. So I know that was a bad model, but look, this is what it looks like. So there it is. So once you have this part 2 done, phase 2, you move on to phase 3. Is you're gonna want to put the cap on. You're going to drill, you know, do your measurements carefully and form 90-degree angles to support it, and drill through both the pipe and the cap, and then put your rebar in, and then use outdoor rated zip ties on the steel to get it nice and tight. So that is what I would call phase 3. In addition to that, you're going to want to buy a burlap sack and put it, I just used some outdoor kind of wire, some planter's wire I think they call it, or copper twine, and get your, get this, what's this called, this material, burlap on. I'll probably do it a little tighter. I got some zip ties, some long zip ties to help. So I'll put those on. But again, outdoor rated zip ties, UV rated zip ties are a must. And so once you have this set up, that's sort of phase 3, and then you're gonna need to add your material next. So what I did is I put in about, to this bottom pipe, 5 inches, 6 inches of perlite, this stuff, and then I kind of smushed it down. So, and then I started mixing steer manure blend with some palm cactus soil, some native soil, and some fancier palm soil. So anyways, I mixed it all up. You want some well draining, good drainage. But again, I used perlite on the bottom because I think that oxygen and just, I think it'll be perfect for what these plants need. And so I filled it up with the plant material, and I put some plants in, and that's kind of the last phase. So I'll show you that next. So there we go. Again, you will need a lot of materials here. I know it's overwhelming, but it's not that hard, just time consuming. All right, again, we'll have a list of all the materials in a second. Let's move on to the last step. Okay, here's sort of the final step here. So I added all the soil, the perlite. See, it's about 4-inch gap at the edge there. I left a 4-inch kind of to top. I could add more later. I know the perlite will kind of, the soil will get sucked down over time. I'll have to add more. And then plant them. So this one was a root, had roots, so you can see this American Beauty is doing really well. Tied it up really gently, and then as the new growth gets older, I'll put it straight up. This piece was a cutting, and I actually used a bit of root hormone, rooting powder. It's worked really well, and I would say using this on dragon fruit, you get roots starting a week earlier. So I did a little test on some cuttings I got, and I would say this stuff works. So what else? Well, after you tie it on, you're gonna see, some people may say, well, skip the burlap. Well, I would say no, because you can see the little aerial roots are already starting, these brand new little root there, it's just starting to kind of grow and attach to this. You could spray nutrients on there, water it, it's gonna be really, really happy. So definitely I recommend the burlap. You can see I have some drippers in there. I put it into the soil, made it level a bit. I still need to cut that piece, I will. Kind of bothers me, I want it nice and tight. So like this side, see? So I still need to do that. This is almost done. And then the most important step that you do not want to forget is some people use like plastic tops. I've seen motorcycle tires. I've seen, I like Spicy Exotics method of, they use like a plastic conduit, blue, thick, like 1-inch conduit. It seems to work pretty well. But I decided to use bamboo and a bunch of zip ties. So this is a giant timber bamboo. Again, you do not want to just let the dragon fruit sit on that metal. It's going to burn or possibly cut the plant as it gets a couple 100 pounds and big. So this is the strategy I'm doing. It takes a bit of time, but I think it looks pretty cool. If I don't toot my own horn here. But I am not worried about the dragon fruit. getting too hot or burned from the metal. I think this is going to work well, and bamboo combined with steel should be pretty strong. I mean, it's really sturdy. So I was hanging on it the other day. Whoa! So anyways, give us a like and a subscribe. We'll attach the, we'll put a nice little list so you can screenshot in a second here all the materials that I used for this project, excluding the bamboo. So you're on for the top here. I would probably do the electrical conduit. I'd stay away from bicycle tires or motorcycle tires because I just know that there's a lot of chemicals in rubber, vulcanized rubber. All right, so anyways, have a great day. I hope this helped, and I hope you can get your dragon fruit growing up these and producing fruit. So good luck. Have a great day.